So hello guys, welcome back. First of all, I'm going to apologize today because we're recording. There's going to be some background noises, and I hope they're not going to be too loud because we're recording this video outside today. But the game was too good to wait, so I had to show you guys the game this morning. Okay, so it's Zadock Nyakundi versus Sakut Kumar, and Zadock is playing with the white pieces. The game was so crazy. The game was actually a very nice tactical battle, and the sort of feeling I'm getting from these games is that the players are very much underrated. I mean, you look at the quality of the games that are being played, and you just you're just in awe because of the brilliance that each of these players is each of these players are showing. Yeah? So yeah, without talking too much, let's dive into the game. So Zadock opens with d4. He strays from the king's Indian attack for a while. I don't know if he's going to employ it much later, but not going to be revealing too much. So d4, d5, c4, and we have the queen's gambit accepted. Zadock plays e4, taking control of the full center. 5, a4, undermining the pawns. c6, just defending, and now takes, and knight to c3. All this is theory. There is nothing new here. Queen to b6, b3, just undermining the center further, and Sakut Kumar plays e6. You can clearly see that these players, I mean, Sakut Kumar is rated 1397, but the level at which he's playing is far much superior than that rating. I just think these players are underrated. So b takes e3, and he plays b4. So the first line that you should calculate here is, does knight to b5 work? Okay, so let's look at it. So knight to b5. And the reason why I think knight to b5 works is because a6 can't be played to push away the knight, because after a6 you just play something like bishop to f4 and you're threatening this nasty check on c7, and black can't really capture the knight because then you win the rook in the corner, and you also win the knight on the next move, or the bishop. So a6 is not playable after knight to b5. So instead, maybe play something like bishop to d7, just trying to take that knight away from there because it's such a strong piece. But then from here, I think white just continues with development with bishop to e3, maybe knight to f6, knight to f3, bishop to e7, castles, and the game continues with white having a slight advantage in the position. So knight to b5 does work, but Zadock goes for knight to a4. Queen is played back to d8. Okay, queen to b7 is much better, but then it stands in the way of the bishop because you kind of want to develop the bishop with bishop to b7 and have control of that long diagonal. So instead, it just goes queen to d8. Knight to f3 is played, bishop to b7 as earlier advertised, and now bishop to d3. Knight to f6, queen to e2, just adding more defense to the e4 pawn. Bishop to e7, castles, and now we're done with the opening. And the game is now, something it's now white to prove the advantage, because I think white had success in the opening, and now it's his time to prove that he has an advantage. So he plays bishop to b2, playable. Also rook to d1, rook f to d1 is also playable in the position, just putting your rook on d1, x-raying the black screen. Zadock goes for bishop to b2, a5 is played, just connecting the passed pawns and adding more pressure to the position. And at some moment maybe he'll launch that queenside attack with those two pawns, and it's going to be hard to defend them. So h3 is played. I mean, h3 doesn't do anything to the position, doesn't put more pressure, doesn't lose any advantage, and black plays knight bd7. So this is, I think, the second critical moment of the position. And which pawn break do you calculate? Which pawn break do you want to push here? Personally, I was looking at d5 and e5 while we were discussing the game with him yesterday. I wouldn't, I like d5, or e5 much better than d5 because it disrupts black's pieces in the center. You're pushing e5, you want to push e5, and where does the knight go? Maybe knight back to e8, and the game continues in some way. You can even play bishop to e4 and offer the trade, or reroute the knight, this knight on a4 somewhere else. But the reason why also Zadock played c5, and the reason he played c5 was because he did not want, let's say we check out the other line, e5, knight to e8, and now let's play something like rook to d1. This is what he was afraid of. He was afraid of knight to b6, which would force the trade of the knights, and the pawns will start just marching down the board. So instead of avoiding all these lines, he chose to play c5, just restrict the black knight from moving to b6, and bishop to c6 was played, queen to c2, h6, and now rook to d1. So black moved the queen away from that x-ray, and also connecting the battery of the queen and the bishop with the attack on a4. So you should be careful that you don't move one of the defenders away, because it could end really bad for you. And now knight back to d2 was played, trying to exploit the weaknesses in black's position and jump in into these squares, and plant. If you manage to plant your knight on d6 and push e5, I think white will be with a clear and winning advantage. So knight to h5 was played, trying to get the knight to f4, and g3 was played to stop this idea. And now e5. So here there's only one move that white can play to try and claim that he still has the advantage in the game, and it's knight to b6, takes, and sacrificing the pawn on e4. This was, I think, the best idea to play here, because there's nothing else that holds advantage for white. You can't, I mean, what else can you can't really push d5, because then your pawns are so weak, and you'll be losing in a few moves. So instead, knight to b6 was played, takes, and takes on d4. Bishop took back the pawn, and queen to d7 was played. So Zadock chose to play bishop to f1, and now the position is completely winning for black. You can choose to pause the clock and calculate and see if you can find the idea, but it's a very strong idea. Yeah, so I'm going to give you like a couple of seconds just to copy a good matter, and if you found it, I mean, you're a good calculator of this stuff. I mean, I just, I couldn't find it the first time I saw it. So the idea is to play queen takes on d4, and you might ask, I mean, it's just an exchange, a piece for a piece, but bishop to c5 is very strong, because you cannot, I mean, you can't defend the pawn on f2, and if you don't maybe play something like bishop to g2 to give yourself an escape square, it's going to be nasty, because what can you play? Let's say push that pawn, trying to attack the rook. It's now mate in 2 with queen takes on f2. You have to move somewhere on this board. I mean, anywhere you go, king to g1, mate is next. So this was the idea that black should have found in the position, but he instead went for knight to g3, which is still winning, but not as clear as the other line. So here, instead of capturing back, again, you don't really want to capture back and allow bishop takes on d4, because you're losing after this line. So instead, Zadock just also gave up his bishop for a pawn. Takes, queen to d4 check, queen f2 check, bishop g2, and now he captured the pawn on d6. So you look at the position and you think white has really escaped something there, because I mean the position was really tricky, and he was losing at some point. Knight to c4 is played, queen to c5, rook d to c1, rook to c8, and now queen on b2, queen to b2 check, king moves, and now knight takes on a5. And this position is now trickier to play for black than anything else in this game, because if you remember, all through the opening. I mean, white had the advantage, but then black had a lot of play and black had a lot of ideas. So after knight takes on a5, it's really forcing, and you have to give up the queen with rook takes on a5, rook takes queen, and rook takes back. Queen takes on b4, and the position becomes. I mean, black has sacrificed the queen, right? But he has two rooks for the queen and the bishop pair. This is drawish, and if anything, I think black is the one who should be pushing for an advantage here. So bishop was played back to f8, just adding a defender to the bishop in case the rook moves. Rook to f1 was played, and in this position, Zadock told me that he had very little time on the clock. He was playing with, I think, seconds. He was playing on increment the entire time, and that will be crucial to many ideas that he's going to miss in this end game. So rook to c2 was played, queen to d4. I mean, there are so many moves to be played. I think queen to b3 is also playable, then bishop to e8, and something like queen to f2, just trying to apply pressure on the position and tie down black's pieces to the back rank. So instead he played this. He played queen to d4, bishop to g7, queen back to d3, bishop to e8 was played, and now h4, just trying to start something, trying to start an attack. Bishop to e5, queen to f3, and black pushed the pawn. Queen to g4 check, king to h7, and rook to b1. So rook was played back to c8, and the idea, I think, was to play rook to b7, just offer the trade, and after takes, queen takes. It's still drawish, but it's harder. It's significantly harder to play for black with just one rook on the board. I think with both rooks it was something different, but here black can white can really apply a lot of pressure, because then both the pieces are attacked, and you have to find some ingenious way of defending them all. Maybe rook to c7, and trying to okay, rook to c7 just blunders the bishop on e8. So I mean, you really have to find something in this position. I think this could have given him more chances to win the game earlier. So rook to b7 was played, and he pushed h5. King went back, bishop to 3, rook to 8, queen moves, bishop to f7, queen back to f5, and rook was played to g8, rook to g1 defending, rook to c3, and bishop to g4, just cutting the focus of the other rook to the pawn on g3. Played rook to g5, just attacking the queen. Queen moved to d7. Rook went back to defend the bishop. Check. Rook moves back, and queen to d7. Rook went back to d7. Checked again, and the opponent made a terrible blunder and pushed his king to h7. So I think what was happening was the opponent thought that because Zadock didn't have time, he wanted to flag him, but he also didn't want to take the draw. Because I mean, it's a simple draw from here. It's really simple. Just move the rook back. After this check, just move the rook back. Then he comes back to d7. You bring your rook to d7, and it's a clear and cut draw by repetition. But the opponent didn't want to admit that the position is drawn, and instead he played king to h7. This is a crucial mistake. So from here it's really simple. Bishop to f5. Bishop blocks. After pawn takes, rook takes, and queen to e7 check, Zadock wins round 4. So this was a brilliant execution by Zadock. I mean, he played the game beautifully. The opening was superb. I mean, he had a clear advantage from the opening, and really pushed it on to the end game. So okay, he might have had a scare in the middle game somewhere around there, but I mean, you snooze, you lose. So this was round 4. Brilliant game. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'm really sorry about the background noise. I just had to record this video before I go to class. So that was it. Thank you for watching, and remember to subscribe, remember to comment, and like the video.